You can't make your weight division anymore that you are champion of, and you're trying to call me fat. He's a midget, lad. He's tiny. He's smaller than Michael Chandler.
You know, I'd love to welcome him to 155, but apparently he's sitting out and waiting for the title shot. But, you know, that what I've just done to Chandler's after blueprint to beating him. He's even more of a midget than Chandler is. Like, I'll do the exact same thing to Ilia than what I've done to Chandler.
To be honest, I don't know what to tell you. He's a good fighter. He's not a good fighter. Sometimes his fight sucks. Sometimes he does something that looks good. I don't know. He's a very average level of fighter.
Paddy the Baddy Pimblett isn't holding back. He's calling out Ilia Topuria with a fiery challenge and a massive payday on the line. With tensions already high between the two, this latest shot adds serious fuel to a rivalry that's been simmering for years. This feud between the Scouse rising star and the former featherweight champion has been blazing for quite a while. After their famous exchange 2 years ago at the press conference of UFC 282, it seems as if both fighters haven't forgotten their rivalry and would love to settle the score in the octagon once and for all.
You're a little
Shut up, if not, I'm gonna stand up and I'm gonna crash your face right here.
Do it then, you little
You
fart.
have another question?
Do it. Do it then, you little pussy. What? Do it. Do it. Come on, do something then. Do something, stand up. What'll you do? You'll do nothing. You'll do nothing, you little fart. Go and sit back down. Sit back down, you little pussy. Puta.
Fuck, put.
Tensions between Paddy Pimblett and Ilia Topuria fizzled beyond words and resulted in a physical fight prior to the UFC event in London. The conversation, which used to be totally verbal, quickly turned into a heated altercation, garnering attention from both fanatics and media. The squabble brought out the intensity of the rivalry they shared, aligning that bad blood is really there. Security jumped in just to prevent the issue from becoming something beyond their control, but the anticipation of a possible fight in the octagon grew with such a case. Because, for the most part, that's a sign there's much more going on than mere talk between these two. Moving on in the post-fight conference after UFC 314, after just defeating Michael Chandler, Paddy didn't hesitate in calling Ilia Topuria out, offering him a welcome in the lightweight division. However, his intentions were far from cordial.
He's not well chilled, so, but as I said, I literally forgot all about him. That's how relevant he is. I'm ranked higher than he is at lightweight, so, you know.
Ilia Topuria also didn't hesitate to clap back. He dismissed any sort of skill that the Scouse star has in his locker. This wasn't just friendly banter, it was personal, and it was from a rage deep within against the Scouser.
To be honest, I don't know what to tell you. He's a good fighter. He's not a good fighter. Sometimes his fight sucks. Sometimes he does something that looks good. I don't know. He's a very average level of fighter.
Paddy Pimblett's ancient tweets disparaging Georgia, according to Ilia Topuria, are disrespect words. Though comments made many years back, Topuria made it evident that they were not forgotten. A simmering rivalry is now probably set to boil over after seeing Topuria's comments, and the thoughts of a possible fight are finally beginning to take some semblance of reality. With nothing able to be, as of now, considered official just yet, things are beginning to feel quite real in the prospect of a matchup between Topuria, an undefeated featherweight champion, and Pimblett, the outspoken lightweight. Following his calm but frank response to Pimblett, fans and commentators were left with the question of whether the proposed bout would soon come to fruition.
He was very disrespectful to me, to my country, to all my people, and he just behaved like a idiot, you know. He started to talk about the war we had against Russia, and that he said something. Now I understand why the Russians put the bombs in Georgia, and many kids died in that war, many people died in that war. You know, not a lot of good things happen in the war. So when you start to joke about that kind of things, just make sure that we don't find each other anywhere, because I'm gonna take you head off.
Henry Cejudo and Kamaru Usman, both reputable figures in the MMA world, have spoken their minds about a possible fight between Ilia Topuria and Paddy Pimblett. They both think that right now, the fight makes the most sense in the lightweight division. With both fighters on the rise, a fierce rivalry between the two is growing, which adds to the stakes. According to Henry Cejudo and Usman, whoever wins this fight stands a good chance of a title shot in the lightweight category, making it not only a personal grudge match, but a very important fight regarding the title chase. The anticipation is building in this fight because it has all the elements to define the future of the division.
He mentioned Dustin, he mentioned Gaethje, he mentioned Arman, but the fight that would really make sense, can I get a drum roll? Ilia Topuria. These guys have beef back in the day. The storyline is there, bro. They're both stars in the UFC. If I'm the UFC, I'm booking Justin Gaethje versus Islam, and then I think you do Ilia Topuria on that fight. Whoever comes out of top gets the next title shot.
You're absolutely right, Henry. If the UFC just like, hey, you know what, let's make the biggest fight we can in that division, because Paddy the Baddy is up there as far as fame right now in that division. I like it, Henry.
So you prefer the Ilia fight?
I like the Ilia fight.
Meanwhile, among all this hype surrounding Paddy's name, new footage has emerged surrounding Paddy Pimblett's fans hurling abuses at Ilia Topuria, further magnifying the existing rivalry and palpable atmosphere around this eventual matchup. The ambience, combined with back and forth banter between different fighter fan bases, is telling of the excitement that surrounds the matchup. Apparently, both fighters are already gigantic draws, and the rivalry has the potential to feed into something high stakes and entertaining. The fans are salivating at the thought of seeing these two get it on, and deservedly so, because it would very well bring in massive viewership consisting of casual and hardcore MMA fans snuggled into the octagon. Paddy didn't mince words when speaking about his personal strategy against Ilia Topuria. He stated, well, in a certain confidence, somehow dismissively, that he will keep it easy, with no signs of stress and urgency. Paddy basically declared victory before the contract was signed, as Topuria is no real threat to him. This casual yet arrogant stance is typical of mentally abusive Paddy. He employs mental warfare and personal belief as tools to get into his opponent's head. His message was loud and clear, as he thinks the fight is already won, and this is just another step to Topuria.
You know, that what I've just done to Chandler's after Blueprint of beating him. He's even more of a midget than Chandler is. Like, I'll do the exact same thing to Ilia than what I've done to Chandler.
Ilia Topuria has spoken for a while about wanting to fight Paddy Pimblett, and now with him leaving the featherweight division and Paddy securing a magnificent victory, the time seems right for this showdown that has long been awaited. By moving up to lightweight, Topuria is making it clear that he is looking to settle the beef that has been simmering between him and the Scouse star. For months, both fighters have verbally traded punches and jabs, and with Topuria now focused on the lightweight division, a matchup between the two seems imminent. With the rivalry heating up, the octagon will soon be the one where it all comes to a boiling point.
I want to fight him in lightweight, in welterweight, doesn't matter for me if they're gonna put me a weight class.
Meanwhile, Michael Bisping went ahead and mentioned one aspect of Paddy Pimblett, which is connecting with fans. According to Bisping, as much improvement Paddy needs in his game, he is already elite when it comes to charisma, confidence, and crowd control. Bisping said that Paddy, in his presence in and out of the cage, attracts huge attention, which is definitely one of the most important assets in modern fight games. According to Bisping, through marketability and fan-type energizing, Paddy has already proved how much of an asset he can be to the UFC, and will eventually, through some growing pains, become both an elite fighter and a superstar.
We need personality in the UFC to attract people to it, to get them involved, to get them invested, whether they want them to win or they want them to lose. You gotta care. And Paddy Pimblett does that. He makes people care.
Demetrius Johnson also backed Paddy in his future endeavors, especially in a potential fight against Ilia, by highlighting the diversity in his attacks, and believes that it is not fair for him to be under such amounts of criticism.
People don't see how Paddy got to where he is, right? Paddy has, had criticism about the way he fights because he gets hit a lot. one of the things that I love about Paddy is that he always brings it when he fights.
That level of praise, much like any other kind, doesn't really impress a retired champion. It was more detailed. It went on to elaborate more on Paddy Pimblett's fighting skills. Comparing him to elite fighters such as Duplessis, Johnson went into detail about how Paddy fights. His stance and his fighting style make him such an unpredictable feat.
I feel like Paddy Pimblett is just getting better. You know, obviously his hands aren't the cleanest, but it's almost like Dricus Duplessis. He has an awkward style about his stand-up, but he's able to get it done. There's Michael Chandler trying to avoid the right hand with his hands down. Both their hands are down, so check right hook would be able to get in there. But I think Paddy Pimblett's stance and like the way he goes about fighting is very, very unique and very good.
If the Ilia Topuria clash doesn't materialize, a few other big names have been listed against Paddy Pimblett as potential opponents. With the Scouse star on the rise, fans and analysts alike have been speculating about thrilling matchups that pit Pimblett against true elite in the lightweight class. Names such as Charles Oliveira, Dustin Poirier, Colby Covington, Dan Hooker, even Islam Makhachev wildcards have all been mentioned among potential next steps for Paddy. Each one would pose a challenge down a different avenue. Wrestling, striking, or experience all would certainly be entertaining for fans. Michael Bisping leaned toward a potential fight against Charles Oliveira, comparing both fighters' records and recent fighting history.
I think that's the fight that's going to get made. Paddy Pimblett's jiu-jitsu is fantastic. Charles Oliveira is the submission king. He's got the most bonuses. He's got the most finishes. He's a former champion. Charles Oliveira doesn't have a fight booked right now, and this would be it. I mean, who knew we'd be having this conversation?
Renowned analyst, the MMA Guru, also weighed on this topic, favoring Dustin Poirier as a potential opportunity. Dustin is now on a retirement run, and this fight would be big for him as it would for Paddy to get the fights against elites.
I think Poirier has to get the Pimblett fight. I think Dustin Poirier needs to get the Pimblett fight. It's not the highest ranks out of all of the names that I just said, but I think Poirier's gonna have to take it. I know that Poirier is playing this game of, I need a legend in my retirement fight, and unfortunately for Poirier, all the legends right now have got some kind of momentum at the top of lightweight.
A potential fight against Colby Covington has also left the fans in a mix, since this has the potential for a personal feud, and that's when Paddy performs the best. Fans could have a chance here for a brutal yet entertaining fight.
I'll come and slap you. Zip your shirt up, you little mate.
You mean guys that are 2-6? Remember that. Remember that. You're a scrub. You're a fraud.
Lad, what are you on a 3-fight losing streak?
You get fraud checks so quick.
Chael Sonnen also offered his recommendation of a fight against Dan Hooker. He believes that as Paddy is now looking for fights against elites, it would be more favorable for him if he as a 6th place defeats the 5th place Hooker. That way, he'd get more chances for potential title fights.
Moicano would provide that. But you want to know who else does? Is Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker is now number 5. If Paddy became 5, okay, first off, if Paddy could get the jump on Dan Hooker, we would all stand back and go, okay, we've said it 5 times now that we're wrong and this guy's better than we thought, but let's just say it again. But that would move him into something very big.
In addition to all the professional expertise, Dustin Poirier also gave his recommendations of Oliveira, Arman, but he had a strong preference for a Dan Hooker versus Paddy Pimblett fight. Daniel Cormier also agreed on the fact that Paddy, who just came off an amazing win against Michael Chandler, now deserves fights against the elite in the lightweight division, where every fight he would have would be much more significant than the previous one.
So it's all about Paddy Pimblett. If he wins, he is not one of the top 5 fighters in the world, and he will fight amongst those guys for the future and going forward. It's huge for him.
If the Ilia Topuria fight does not materialize, ambition is not short with Paddy Pimblett, expressing to fight amongst the best in the lightweight division and possibly getting a shot at the title. This audacious call-out indicates that Paddy wants to rise quickly and test himself against the best. He appears unfazed and surely wants to put his skills on the line and take his place in the lightweight ranks. Be it method or audacity, Paddy clearly wants the bigger fights possible.
After this win for you, this is going to completely shake up lightweight.
Yeah.
Like crazy.
It's going to shake up lightweight in a big way. It's I still get called a prospect, know what I mean? So once I beat Michael, That's going to change. I'll be in the top 7 fighters in the world behind Islam Makhachev. I'll be asking for a top 4 fighter after that.
Me versus Charles. Fuck Armin. He's a little helmet. Fuck that sausage.
Indeed, the rivalry between Paddy the Baddy Pimblett and Ilia Topuria is heating up, and the UFC world is viewing it with keen interest. Whether it's Topuria, Oliveira, Poirier, or Islam, Paddy has options, and each option stands for fireworks. But we want your take on it. Who should Paddy fight next? Is Ilia the right choice, or should the baddie deal with a different beast? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, smash the like button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more fight breakdowns and MMA dramas, and click the bell icon that follows so you never miss when the beef spills over into blood. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay deadly, fight fans.